That was a little bit of practice involving a quick breath that I have to catch in order to make it through that 16th note phrase that you just heard. I often mess up after that breath when I come in on a low B natural or a C sharp in treble clef. It's a little bit awkward. I've never been good at that note anyway. It just feels funny to me. And then doing it right after a breath is difficult. So I need to practice that. There are a few ways I could do it. I could do it that way, the way we typically practice something. We take a breath and play. But that does not create a realistic scenario. I'm not breathing in as much air in that short time that I have as I really would have to in a real situation. I could go back to the beginning of the phrase and practice the whole thing again, but that spends a lot of practice time on an area that may not need it. In this case, I'm not so sure it doesn't need it, but in many cases it doesn't. So what I've chosen to do instead when I practice something like this, and I've talked about this before in videos, is to actually do the opposite of what we're normally taught to do. When you start a phrase, you do this and play, right? In this case, I'm going to do this and play. I'm going to start just a few notes ahead then with not much air, and that'll give me a realistic intake scenario where I've got to take quite a bit of breath to get back where I want to be. Now, that felt pretty close to what I have to do in real performance in that situation. I'll add a couple more notes now ahead of that just to make sure I'm in the right track here. Okay, as you can hear, that note didn't come out. So that's what I'm afraid of. That's why I'm practicing it this way and trying to practice it in a real way. I can do that all day and not have a problem. Where I mess up is when I have to take that quick breath and then reset my chops and come back in on a low B natural or a C sharp written. So there's a practice tip. I've used it many times in many places, and it really is useful. You can save a lot of practice time and really focus on where you're having the problem, which is to take air, reset, and come back in cleanly without having to play perhaps a 4-bar phrase to go into that. You can play just a few notes and have a realistic practice scenario there. So I hope that's helpful. Give it a try and see if it works for you. Thanks for listening.